Hi, today we are going to start our next chapter, Elementary Canonical Forms. This is sixth chapter. Okay. Now 6.1 is introduction. You can read that section. Now we are starting the section 6.2, characteristic values. Okay. Already you know what is meant by a characteristic value. Here we are discussing characteristic values in terms of linear transformation. Okay. Let V be a vector space over the field F and T be a linear operator on V. That is, T is a function from V to V. Now, a characteristic value of T is a scalar C in F such that there is a non-zero vector alpha in V with T alpha equal to C alpha. Then C is called a characteristic value of T. Okay, that is C is a characteristic value if there exists an alpha not equal to 0 such that T alpha equal to C alpha, then we call C as a characteristic value of T. Now, if C is a characteristic value of T, then any alpha such that T alpha equal to C alpha is called a characteristic vector of T associated with the characteristic value C is called a characteristic vector of T associated with the characteristic value C. That alpha is called characteristic vector. See, if C is a characteristic value, then there exists a alpha not equal to 0 such that T alpha equal to C alpha. Then this alpha is called characteristic vector of T. Okay. Now next, the collection of all alpha such that T alpha equal to C alpha is called the characteristic space associated with the characteristic value C. Okay. We have T alpha equal to C alpha. Okay. Now consider let W is equal to set of all alpha belongs to V such that T alpha equal to C alpha. Then this set W is called characteristic space associated with the characteristic value C. Okay. Now, actually, this is not the collection of all characteristic vector. This contains set of all characteristic vectors. Then also it is satisfies 0 also satisfies this condition because we know that T0 equal to 0 and which is equal to C into 0. So that vector is also in this W. Okay. Characteristic space associated with the value C. Now, characteristic values are often called characteristic roots or latent roots or eigenvalues or proper values or spectral values. Okay. Now, moving to one note. Note one. If T is any linear operator and C is any scalar, then the set of all vectors T alpha equal to C alpha is a subspace of V. So here W is equal to set of all alpha belongs to V such that T alpha equal to C alpha, and we have TC, we have to prove that this is a subspace, and we have to, for this we have to prove, first to prove W is non-empty, then we have to prove some K alpha plus beta belongs to W. For every alpha comma beta belongs to W and K belongs to scalar, because here we are choosing C, therefore here we use K. Okay, therefore T0 equal to 0 equal to C into 0. This implies 0 belongs to W. Now let alpha comma beta belongs to W. This implies T alpha equal to C alpha and T beta equal to C beta. Now for any K belongs to F, T of K alpha plus beta equal to, by linearity property, you can write this as K T alpha plus T beta. That's equal to K into C alpha plus C beta. That's equal to C into K alpha plus beta. Therefore, T of something is equal to C into this one. That means K alpha plus beta belongs to W. K alpha plus beta belongs to W. W is non-empty and this also belongs to W, implies W is a subspace of V. Now there is another note. The characteristic space of a linear operator associated with the characteristic value C is equal to the null space of T minus Ci. What is null space of T minus Ci? Null space of T minus C is set of all alpha belongs to V such that T minus Ci alpha equal to 0, and we have to prove that characteristic space associated with the characteristic value C is same as null space of T minus Ci. Okay. Let the characteristic space associated with C is W. Then W is equal to set of all alpha belongs to V such that T alpha equal to C alpha. That is set of all alpha belongs to V such that T alpha minus C alpha equal to 0. That is set of all alpha belongs to V such that T alpha minus C into this alpha you can write as I alpha equal to 0. That is set of all alpha belongs to V such that T minus Ci alpha equal to 0. And this is same as null space of T minus Ci. Okay, therefore characteristic space associated with the characteristic value C is same as null space of T minus Ci. Okay, now we are going to prove one theorem. Now theorem 1. Here the theorem says that let T be a linear operator on a finite dimensional space V and let C be a scalar. Then following are equivalent. C is a characteristic value of T. The operator T minus Ci is singular. Determinant T minus Ci equal to 0. We have to prove these three conditions are equivalent. That means we have to prove 1 implies 2, 2 implies, 1 implies 2, 2 implies 3 and 3 implies 1. Okay. Now 1 implies 2. Given that, assume that C is a characteristic value of T. That implies there exists alpha not equal to 0 in V such that T alpha equal to C alpha. This implies there exists alpha not equal to 0 in V such that T alpha minus C alpha equal to 0. That means T alpha minus Ci alpha equals 0. That means T minus Ci alpha equals 0. That means there exists alpha not equal to 0 in V such that this condition holds. This implies T minus Ci is singular because if a linear operator T is non-singular then T alpha equal to 0 implies alpha equal to 0. If there exists a alpha not equal to 0 such that T alpha equal to 0 implies T is not non-singular. That means T is singular. This condition holds here. There exists a alpha not equal to 0 such that T minus Ci alpha equal to 0. That means T minus Ci is singular. Now 2 implies 3. That means determinant T minus Ci equal to 0. Okay. We have to prove determinant T minus Ci equal to 0. Now given T minus Ci is singular. Suppose B is if B is an ordered basis for V and suppose A is the matrix of T related to this basis. So T minus Ci is singular implies A minus Ci is singular. Now a matrix A is singular means determinant of A equal to 0. That means determinant of A minus Ci equal to 0 and this is same as determinant of T minus Ci equal to 0. Now moving to 3 implies 1. Suppose determinant T minus Ci is equal to 0. That implies matrix of T minus Ci is singular. That means T minus Ci is singular. That means there exists a alpha not equal to 0 such that T minus Ci alpha equal to 0. That means there exists a alpha not equal to 0 such that T alpha minus Ci alpha equal to 0. That means this condition holds. That means there exists a alpha not equal to 0 such that T alpha equal to C alpha. This implies C is a characteristic value of T. Thus we get 1 implies 2, 2 implies 3 and 3 implies 1. Okay, therefore that conditions are equivalent. Therefore, C is a characteristic value of T implies T minus Ci is singular. Also determinant T minus Ci is equal to 0. Now there is a definition. If A is an n by n matrix over the field F, a characteristic value of A in F, here A is a matrix, is a scalar C in F such that the matrix A minus Ci is singular or invertible. Okay, if A is an n by n matrix, then characteristic value of A in F is a scalar C in F such that matrix A minus Ci is singular. Matrix A minus Ci is singular means determinant A minus Ci is equal to 0. Okay. Now moving to the remark, if C is a characteristic value of A, then if and only if determinant A minus Ci equal to 0, that is equivalently if and only if determinant of Ci minus A equal to 0. Because we know that determinant of A equal to 0 implies determinant of minus A is equal to here some minus raised to something into determinant of A. Okay, this implies this is minus 1 raised into 0, which is equal to 0. Okay, what is actually determinant of Ka? If order of the matrix is n, then this is same as k raised to n into determinant of A. Okay, therefore determinant of Ci minus A is also equal to 0. Now consider the polynomial determinant xi minus A. Let f of x is equal to determinant xi minus A. If C is a characteristic value of A, then determinant of Ci minus A equal to 0. That means f of C equal to 0. Therefore, if C is a characteristic root, that is C is a root of f of x. Therefore, if C is a characteristic value of A, then C is a root of f of x. Therefore, characteristic values of A are, this is very important, characteristic values of A are just the scalar C in F such that f of C equal to 0. Okay. Now this f of x equal to determinant x minus a is called characteristic polynomial of a. Determinant xi minus a is called characteristic polynomial of a. If you find determinant xi minus a, clearly this is a polynomial in x with the order of the highest power is, sorry, coefficient of the highest power is 1. Therefore, we call that as a monic polynomial. And what about the degree? Degree is exactly n. If you consider something like this, some xi minus a, suppose this is some x minus 1, 2, 3, x minus 2. Suppose this is our xi minus a, then if you multiply this, then clearly coefficient of highest power of x is 1. If a polynomial, if f of x is a polynomial with the coefficient of highest power is, suppose a naught x raised to n is our highest power, suppose a naught an is equal to 1, then this f of x is called monic polynomial. And if this is a matrix of order en, then that polynomial is also of degree n. Therefore, this polynomial is a monic polynomial having degree n. Okay, f of x equal to determinant xi minus a is called characteristic polynomial of a. Now moving to next lemma. This is very important. Lemma. Similar matrices have same characteristic polynomial. Proof. Suppose that the matrix B is similar to a matrix A. That means there exists an invertible matrix P such that B equal to P inverse AP. Okay. B is similar to A. Now what about characteristic polynomial for A? Determinant xi minus A. Characteristic polynomial for B is determinant xi minus B. Now determinant xi minus b equal to determinant xi minus b, you can replace as p inverse AP. Determinant xi you can replace as p inverse p. P inverse p is I itself. Okay. P inverse AP. Now take, you can write this as this, you can write as p inverse xp, and you take p inverse outside xi minus a p, and determinant is this one, and this is determinant xi minus a into determinant of p inverse into determinant of p, and this is determinant of xi minus a into determinant p inverse p. P inverse p is identity matrix. Determinant of xi minus a into determinant of I. The determinant of identity matrix is 1. Therefore, this is equal to determinant xi minus a. Thus, we get determinant of xi minus b equal to determinant of xi minus a. Now here characteristic polynomial for A is determinant xi minus a. Characteristic polynomial for B is determinant xi minus b. Here we get determinant xi minus a is same as determinant xi minus b. Therefore A and B have same characteristic polynomial. Okay. Here we have proved similar matrices have same characteristic polynomial. This is one of the most important results. Okay, that's all for today's class.